Hey guys, let's get more news about Dallas, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Stephon Gilmore drops fiery take on remaining unsigned in NFL free agency. After the collapse of the Mike McCarthy-led Dallas Cowboys early in the postseason, Stephon Gilmore entered NFL free agency. After stints with the Indianapolis Colts, Carolina Panthers, and New England Patriots, he is now ready to make an impact on a different team. But, why has he not been able to land a contract with training camps and the season nearing? Stephon Gilmore remains to be one of the most elite defensive menaces in the NFL. He has continued to ravage and disturb offenses with the Patriots all the way to the Cowboys. It remains a question to nearly everyone in the league why he still has not gotten a new deal in NFL free agency. The elite defender outlined what his plans are during this lengthy offseason via Josina Anderson of The Crew. There are still some good corners and safeties out there like Justin Simmons and myself that are still not signed. Honestly, I'm still being patient and staying ready until teams see what they have in training camp, he declared. Mike McCarthy and the Cowboys saw him notch elite numbers during the 2023-24 season. Gilmore was given a $7.96 million deal, which surely inspired him to play an intense brand of football. He played a career-high 17 games for them and his numbers were also insanely huge. 68 tackles came his way, which is the most ever in his career. He also notched 2 interceptions to round out his stat sheet. But, you mean to tell me among 32 teams that there are 64 starting corners that are better than me? I don't think that. If teams want to win, I think they should sign the best players. I know I'm still a starter in this league. I started games last year, but the season doesn't start until September, we got a while, Gilmore declared. It sounds like he will just be waiting until a team calls him up before the start of training camps. But, it might not take long before a squad does so because of his defensive chops along with his veteran acumen which could lead any young core to greater heights. Moreover, Gilmore is just 2 years removed from a Pro Bowl selection. Clearly, he is not yet too old to be on the field with younger wide receivers and tight ends. The former Mike McCarthy mentee can still sprint and move swiftly on lateral routes such that opponents' drives get stopped. Patience is all that he can practice during a tough time when no contract is being offered yet in NFL free agency. It worked out in the past 2 years when his contract value increased and that magic might just work a second time in his career. Ex-Cowboys starter could sign with Eagles in free agency. The Dallas Cowboys parted ways with a few veterans in 2024 and one former starter could become a late pickup for the Philadelphia Eagles. While Jaron Kearse carved out a role as the Cowboys' starting safety, he has been a free agent since the end of last season. SI.com writer Patrick McAvoy believes that he and the Eagles would make for a beneficial partnership. On July 16, McAvoy explained why Kearse would make sense as a free agency signing in Philly. Kearse wouldn't be an expensive option and the Eagles certainly could afford him. The Eagles may not want to make a major splash as they have made it known that they want to try out James Bradberry at safety, McAvoy wrote. The Eagles have plenty of cap space and still should look for ways to add depth and Kearse could fit that description well. It's an interesting idea, and certainly a move that would affect Dallas significantly. The Cowboys are moving on from Kearse for a reason, but seeing him twice a year would not be ideal. Despite the Cowboys having a new defensive coordinator in Mike Zimmer, Kearse has plenty of knowledge about the Cowboys and the NFC East. After 5 years and just 12 career starts with the Minnesota Vikings and Detroit Lions, Kearse joined the Cowboys in a pivotal point of his career. The former Clemson Tiger had never established himself as a regular starter, but Dallas provided that opportunity. In many ways, Kearse lived up to the chance. According to Pro Football Reference, the 30-year-old set career highs in interceptions, 2, and passes defended, 10, and tackles for loss, 9. The Cowboys took a flyer on Kearse by signing him to a one-year, $1.2 million deal, and it immediately paid off for both sides. Dallas brought back Kearse on a 2-year deal the following offseason, handing him $10 million over that span per Spotrac. Kearse didn't reach those same numbers again, but did record at least 1 interception and 4 passes defended in 2022 and 2023. It makes sense that Dallas has moved on with Malik Hooker and Donovan Wilson shining, but it's somewhat surprising that Kearse hasn't been able to sign with a new team. While Kearse continues as a free agent, Cowboys LB Damian Wilson could be joining him on the open market. Cowboys wire writer Katie Drummond identified Wilson as a potential cut candidate after his minimal role in 2023. Wilson, an original Cowboys draft pick, went elsewhere and found glory, winning a Super Bowl with the Kansas City Chiefs, Drummond said in a July 8 article. Out of the league, Dallas signed him down the stretch of 2023 when the ranks were depleted and brought him back this offseason. He's never worked with Zimmer and is probably around LB5 or LB6, so if any of the youngsters behind him show up he could be at risk. The Cowboys have young talent at the LB position like Marquise Bell and DeMarvion Overshown. Giving young talent like that duo a shot is tempting in comparison to keeping a rotational veteran like Wilson. Cowboys predicted to trade for Eagles ex-star RB, intriguing option. The Dallas Cowboys may not be finished adding running backs. As the Cowboys prepare to begin training camp later this month, they'll do so with uncertainty at the running back position. That's because the team is lacking a clear-cut starter, with their major additions in the offseason being Ezekiel Elliott, who is more of a part-time back than a starter at this stage of his career, and journeyman Royce Freeman, who has started just 1 game since the 2019 season. Outside of those veteran additions, the Cowboys feature inexperienced runners in Malik Davis, Rice Dowdle and Deuce Vaughn. Neither of those running backs have been starters during their careers. That lack of certainty at running back is a major reason why Bleacher Report's Alex Ballentine is making the bold prediction of the Cowboys of Dallas making a move for a running back via trade. Ballentine mentions Carolina Panthers running back and former Philadelphia Eagles Pro Bowler Miles Sanders as an option. A veteran like Miles Sanders would also be an intriguing option, writes Ballentine. He completely lost the backfield in Carolina last season but had 1,347 yards from scrimmage in his 2022 campaign with the Eagles. The 27-year-old Sanders had a career-best year during the Eagles' run to the Super Bowl during the 2022 season. He clinched his first Pro Bowl berth by running for 1,269 yards and 11 touchdowns, ranking 5th in rushing yards and 8th in touchdowns during the 2022 season. While he did post a decent 4.2 yards per carry clip during the postseason in addition to his 148 rushing yards on 35 carries, his usage started to decrease in the playoffs. In fact, backup Kenneth Gainwell saw more carries, 38, and ran for 190 rushing yards during the playoffs. While Sanders' role clearly decreased during the playoffs, he parlayed his banner year into a major contract during the 2023 offseason, inking a 4-year, $25.4 million deal with the Panthers. However, Sanders was one of the least efficient running backs in the NFL last season, posting just 432 rushing yards on 129 carries with 3.3 yards per carry, all career lows. In fact, Sanders had the 3rd lowest rushing average among the top 48 rushers from last season. Sanders' horrid start to the season led him to lose his starting job after the first 5 games of the season. After seeing 61 carries during the first 5 games of the season, Sanders carried the ball just 68 times in his next 11 appearances. The veteran back will enter the 2024 season buried on the depth chart behind Chuba Hubbard and second-round pick Jonathan Brooks. Carolina also added former Seattle Seahawks starting running back Rashad Penny to the equation. With Sanders likely on his last legs in Carolina, now would be the perfect time for the Cowboys to trade for him for a low draft pick. The Panthers would likely rather trade him than outright release him. He has a $10.5 million dead cap hit for the 2024 season and receive a late-round draft pick in return. While the Cowboys are unlikely to part ways with Elliott, Freeman's spot on the team isn't guaranteed. The same applies for the three inexperienced backs in Davis, Vaughn, and Dowdle. While Sanders is coming off of a rough season, playing behind an established line and one of the best teams in the NFL may be the key to unlocking his potential once again. And you, fan? What do you think of the situation of Miles Sanders? Leave your opinion in the comments.